Hello and welcome to Santa Fe Matters. My name is Gilda Montano and today I'm here with Sarah Pierpont and Margie Barth, correct?
That's right.
So today we're here to talk about our 21st anniversary Recycle Art Festival.
21st year.
Wow,
yeah.
It's amazing. You know, it's been, we've come a long way
We've come a long way
since it started.
And isn't it nice how we're not getting older?
Yes,
It's
it
just
is
time
nice.
passes like that.
Exactly. We're as young as we were when it started. So yeah, I'm really excited. So Sarah, tell us a little bit about the dates first of all, and you know, that kind
Absolutely.
of stuff. Start with that, and then we'll.
Yes, so it's the 21st anniversary. It's November 15th, 16th, and 17th at the Convention Center, which is on Marcy Street downtown. It's a little bit earlier than in years past. Sometimes we have it in early December, but I like this date. It's actually America Recycles Day is November 15th, so we have a great way to celebrate that. And it's kind of a nice kickoff to the holiday season and gift buying. It works really well for me because I have all my birthdays and for the family in early December, so everyone gets recycled art.
Yeah.
And the event includes a student and an adult art exhibit, a juried
awesome.
art exhibit, make and take art activities on Saturday and Sunday, a trash fashion show on Friday night, and then the bulk of the show is the art market. And that's where we have about 90 artists that have a booth space, and they come from New Mexico, Colorado. We have a lot from Colorado this year and Arizona. And they sell their art, and their art is made of items that would have been thrown away or recycled if the artist hadn't salvaged them to turn it into art.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, there's a percentage that they have to be correct. That
Yes.
They have to be made out of. The art has to be made out of. So
Right.
what is that?
It's 75%. So what that means is we have a woman who's a painter, and she can use brand new paint, but she paints on old rusty metal and that kind of thing. So as long as 75% of your material is made from recycled items, then it qualifies. I'm sure that some of Margie's stuff uses new thread for recycled fabric. So it's just to make allowances for those sort of situations.
That's awesome. Well, I just wanted to point out that I'm wearing my recycled.
Yeah, I did notice this.
Silverware today. So yeah.
I am wearing my recycled pin
Yes,
from
I love that.
electronic parts. And what else? Oh, these are old gears from a clock maker's.
Yeah. So
Tools.
it's amazing the stuff that artists can do with silverware and
Right.
just parts that they recycle. So it's awesome. I mean, it's an awesome show. And when people hear a recycled art show, sometimes I get the impression they're thinking it's a lot of junk, but it's really not. You find some really beautiful, amazing art there. And like Sarah said, she can do, I mean, the shopping's awesome, and it's a great time of year to do your Christmas shopping. And the fashion show is huge, and that's our first event on Friday night.
Yeah,
so
the
do
weekend
you
kicks
have
off.
a number yet of how many people are participating?
I don't quite yet because the deadline isn't until Friday.
Oh, okay.
We get them up to the last minute to get those outfits together. But, usually we have about 35 contestants. And what I've loved is each year they've gotten like more and more beautiful. And some of the things I kind of want to wear to a cocktail party sometimes. Like, this is
Yeah.
wearable art.
It is.
And so, it ranges from silly, funny costumes to really high fashion things to, I think we had like a 4-year-old in a cute robot box, which is just really sweet. So it's nice to have from the young children all the way through the grandmas participating and grandpas.
So tell us a little bit about how you can get involved in the fashion show or join the fashion show.
Right. So it's all on our website, which is recyclesantafe.org. And there's a link that says for artists. And you click on that link and it tells you how to enter into the fashion show, which is free. And you've got until Friday, November 8th. So if you're feeling creative, get making. Well, we'd love to have you in the show.
So tell residents about getting to the fashion show.
Oh, getting to the fashion show. Right. So on Friday night, we do charge a general admission, which is $5. Children 12 and under are no cost. So $5 general admission gets you into the art market. What's kind of fun is the art market's open from 5 to 9, and you can come and do a little bit of shopping, and then at 7 o'clock, if you have a fashion show ticket, you have a seat, an assigned seat in front of the catwalk, and you can watch the fashion show. So the fashion show tickets are available at the door, but it often does sell out, as you know. Yes. You're the one that always
I have to hear
helps with
about
that.
it. Yeah.
You're like, sorry. So you can buy tickets ahead of time through the Lenzic box office, which is 988-1234, or ticketsantafe.com. And then it's assigned seating. You can have your ticket ahead of time. You can get there early, and that includes your admission, your general admission to the art market. You don't have to pay that extra $5 at the door. You have your ticket, go shopping. Cowgirl barbecue is going to be there. Grab some food. 7 o'clock, watch the fashion show. I mean, it's a really fun, family-friendly Friday night. That's a lot.
And Friday night, you charge because it helps out, and this money goes back into the show. So it's it's only one night out of the whole weekend, and so come and enjoy Friday night, the fashion show, see all the great fashions. It's amazing what these young kids, a lot of young kids have really gotten into this event, and they come out with some really great fashions.
It's true. A lot of our teenagers have done it since they were little.
Right.
And 3 or 4 of them have gone on to study fashion and design in college. And they're at great schools like Rhode Island School of Design. There's one of them who's working in London and doing fashion design. And they've used their recycled art portfolio, which I love this, to help get into these colleges. So they have pictures of themselves as little kids. Like, how creative could that be? Like making art out of and fashion out of bottle tops or whatever.
I know, it's amazing. So this show is more than just artists. There's education, and there's just lots of fun stuff, and I think it's great. I've always loved this event, and that's why I continue to help out with it.
Gilda doesn't even need to be there anymore. She's retired, and she comes and helps.
Yes,
so she's such a sweet.
Because I love it. I think it's awesome, and I think everybody should experience it at least once or twice. Come and check it out, and the make and take. It's amazing. We have kids and adults who could just sit there for hours and make art on Saturday and Sunday. It's that used to be one of my quiet times. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of great things about this show, and she said you have over 90.
We have about 90 artists.
90 artists.
So on Friday night we have 65 booths in the art market, and then half of the ballroom at the convention center is the stage and catwalk and chairs for the fashion show. Then Friday night, late, all the staff at the convention center, they're really great. They clear everything out, and we have space for 20 more booths to come in early Saturday morning. So then on Saturday, there's so many booths, and it's really all the types of art that are at the art market varies each year. But something that I really enjoy about this event, like all the money from the fashion show, like you said, goes back into the event. It's amazing how expensive it is to put on a weekend-long event with ads and space and stuff, but we really try to make it affordable and accessible to everyone. We don't want to have our booths cost the artists too much, because this is really economic development for people doing creative things, for makers that are using discards, and to be able to find markets for those. That's why we don't charge on Saturday and Sunday, and we want people to be able to come and just check it out. And they don't have to shop. They can also just make their own art with the make and take. And like Gilda said, the make and take, it's the reason it's so fun is because we ask our artists to clear out their studios, and so there's funny, weird, cool treasures. Like one year we got all the parts of an old instruments, or like really cool scrap fabric, and then we just set up tables and glue guns, and the stuff walking out of there, like some little kids will carry robots that are bigger than their heads. You know, it's just really fun.
Imagination, it's amazing. So that's great. We had Saturday and Sunday again are free. Friday night is the only night that there's a charge, and it's $5 to get into the art market. And what are the tickets for the fashion
Tickets
show?
for the fashion show range from $15 to $20, but children 12 and under are $8.
Yeah, so you get to pick your seat, basically. Depends on where you're sitting and stuff.
And we're doing something new this year.
Oh.
Can I tell you? Okay.
Yes.
So the long story is, right now, the recycling world is having a hard time. China has banned the import of scrap materials. Markets have kind of gone really down. A lot of places in the country are limiting what they can accept for recycling. We're lucky here in Santa Fe, our environmental services division is still able to keep our recycling program going as it has been. But there's a lot of focus nationally to concentrate on reduce and reuse. So this is the first year that we're making the event a zero waste event, which means zero waste is defined as you are diverting 90% of your material from the landfill without burning or burying any of it. So you can't burn plastics and say it's waste to energy. Zero waste means reducing it at the source. So we're going to work with Unity Resources and have composting available. Cowgirl Barbecue is only serving on certified compostable plasticware or plantware, I guess it is. And so we're really excited about that. We have volunteers from El Dorado 285 Recycles to help staff the station. So if someone wants to throw something away, there's a volunteer that says, oh wait, that goes in the compost bin, that goes in the recycling bin, and maybe that tiny little bit of tinfoil or wrapper or something foil wrapper might go in the garbage.
Right.
So fingers crossed it goes well, and we're going to quantify all the results and see how well we do in terms of diverting 90% of our material.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really walking the walk.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we
go.
want to do. And this whole event is a zero waste event. I mean, the artists use things, like this kitty. This is all beautiful. Well, this looks like actually wool, and I just had a terrible moth infestation at my house, and they ate my cashmere.
Oh, no.
Terrible. So I have some cashmere that you can use to cut up. But anyways, all these items don't belong in a landfill,
Right.
but they're not meant for they're not able to be used in their original purpose. So what do? Well, in this case, Margie made a kitty.
Yeah.
And a kitty's friend.
Yes. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So we have some great information, and I definitely will have to have you back, and we can talk a little bit more and get more in depth about the recycling and
Yes.
what's going on with that. And we've talked to Juliana
Ciano.
Ciano at Reunity. We were out there, Doreen and I were out there
wonderful.
interviewing her and what they're doing out there. So there's a lot of great things that Santa Fe is doing. So
Right.
we're very
Right.
lucky in
And
a lot of ways.
Something that is going on at the national level, we should be really proud of our Senator Udall. It's his last year in office, but he's proposing a federal legislation to reduce plastic waste. And I read it and I was like, yes.
That's great. Awesome. Well, I want to talk to Marvy about all of her great items and things that she's doing with all her recycled materials. Welcome, and thank you for having us in your studio home. It's wonderful to be here with all your great pets, and I know you have a lot of other things that you do. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got
Sure.
started in all of this? And yeah.
I'll try to give you the condensed
Okay.
version because it's really been a long road for me. I mean, I started using recycled materials for different products as a product developer, and that was over 20 years ago when I was hired from a company to come into a 12-story warehouse where they did collectibles, and that was curbside collection.
Oh, okay.
Furniture all the way to socks, and it was my job to find what I needed to make the products. Train my people. This program was for people that were coming off the streets that were alcoholic or had drug addictions. We were opening a retail store. It was to stock the store, 4 departments, 5 product lines, and also represent the product line. I sold to Urban Outfitters at that time. But previously to that, I had already started exploring using all different kinds of materials, from denim jeans, turning them into cowboy Christmas stockings, unraveling sweaters and remaking them into products, which I don't advise anybody.
That sounds like a lot of patience and a labor of love.
But, my grandmother was someone that was very thrifty, and at 11 years old, I was making my own coats, and I was spending time on her farm every other weekend. My aunt was a very talented tailor that worked for Chanel, so I had a very good professor. But she was very strict on the technology of fabric. Whereas my grandmother was, you want to make that golden fleece cape? Just like Jean London, you can go into the sea trunk. And I was like, are you kidding me? There's nothing that even represents what Jean wore. So she was like, there's plenty of material in there. There's tablecloths, there's wool suits, there's velvet, there's old curtains. Figure it out. So my aunt was really very instrumental with me. Okay, let's see your sketch. Let's see what we're going to use in the sea trunk. And then she would secretly go out and we would go fabric shopping. Because I was a real stickler. I wanted my coat to look like Jean London's coat, and it wasn't going to be out of lace or wool. But anyway, I kind of got, and I didn't realize it at the time, but when I worked in the fashion industry, they weren't quite sure where to put me. they were like, you're super creative. We love you as a designer. You're pretty good with production and you're excellent with training. So I worked for a couple really, after I left the theater, because I originally started in Santa Fe at 19 as a costume designer and had an 11-year career up in New York and a couple stints for PBS. So I had already been thinking, like, what is my next thing that I wanted to do? And I really had no clue. It was accidental. I had met someone, he had seen my renderings, he had asked me where I was going, if I had any direction next, and he offered me a job in fashion. I was not in the fashion industry longer than 6 months, and I saw things that actually not only disenchanted me, but really woke me up as to what was happening and the waste. And one of the biggest things that I think was the hugest light bulb moment for me was them telling me to go in a back room after I was checking the cutting table and seeing where we were with production. And this room was filled with bolts of fabric. Some had 30, some had 50 yards. But there was a huge hole in the center of the bolt. And I was like, what is going on here? And then I found out they were getting sent. They weren't going to Raggers. They weren't going off of 8th Avenue. They weren't even going into Newark, New Jersey. These things were going into a landfill. There were various other issues, from childhood labor to really unfit conditions to environmental factors. And that was the second seed. And I just started meeting a lot of the raggers and asking them, hey, how can I get that yardage that's in the pipeline? Who do I need to know before they put a hole in it? Blah, blah, blah. And I actually started experimenting with it.
Oh, awesome.
There's an article in the New York Times today about how if you wear clothes, you're contributing to global warming.
Wow. Well,
I really don't want to get
that's a different story.
That's a totally different philosophy. We're all involved in global warming right now, but part of sustainability is learning now to make the choices. And why are you buying from that company? And what does that company actually do to our environment? And does that company really have our best interests? So sustainability actually goes all the way back probably to the early 70s, because we've always had artists that made handmade lines. It was called the cottage industry for the longest time. And they were already doing this. So, you know, the green line, sustainability, it's been here, but we also got caught up in consumerism. And that's what we're here to kind of undo now.
Yeah.
So where are you getting your materials these days for these wonderful animals and the other art pieces that you...
My supplies always change. It's one of the constants in my business. When I got started, I'm a talker, obviously, and I go into the thrift store, and then the first thing I would say as I'm going through the racks, is there a general manager here or someone that I could talk to, a supervisor? And then when I found out, when I was back in Pennsylvania, I was between basically New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and New York at that time. I started going into like the Salvation Army, and I'm like, do you have a by pound store? I'm a designer. Off the rack is too expensive for what I need to do. How can we work this? So that worked out really well. And as long as I went in and talked to people and they saw me, and then it was by pound until our economy changed again. And that's when people really had to watch their money. A lot of people were buying. I always loved thrift stores. I always thought you could find the coolest stuff in thrift stores, but then it kind of had a renewal again. I'll show you the room and my supplies. My supplies have actually been accumulated since I left the last company where I was doing product development, and that was in 90, it was probably in 95. And they called me. It was 2 months after I left, and they were like, Margaret, we know you love the sweaters. So how about we're going bankrupt? A penny a pound.
Oh my gosh.
So I went in and I got as much of my base and as much as I could actually put into my apartment. And that was really good for me because I got to experiment. I mean, originally I was doing a dyed line. Originally I was doing kimonos that were sold to Neiman Marcus. And then I was like, oh, this isn't good. If I'm going to go environmental, I can't be dyeing materials. Mm-hmm. So let's get stripped all the way back down. I tried natural dyeing. Natural dyeing was labor intensive, added another element, and then trying to get it on the market at that price was prohibitory. So I've actually created about 5 lines of products, and each and every one of them, they hit their, I guess, life expectancy and got sold to other companies. And then I was basically, when I was teaching, because I taught recycled art workshops for 10 years, I was always making something. And I wasn't using material anymore. I was using sweaters. So I was like, why are you trying to augment your income right now and just keep making them? The animals were an accident. I do have to say they were a very happy accident. I was never planning on making animals. It was a friend of mine who was very ill, and he was going in for an operation, and it was like, what can I make for you? And he said, a blue dog. And I said, a blue dog? I said, I don't know how to make stuffed animals. And he said, yes, you can make everything. And if you've done coats and suits, it's 3D. So in the hospital, and this was in the Bryn Mawr section of Philadelphia, when he came out of surgery, I went in to meet him, and he had the dog laying on his little nightstand. But there was one of the surgeons, his assistant, and 3 nurses. I came through the door and I was like, how's the patient doing? And they were like, oh my God, it's Margie, the one that makes those great dogs. So then it was the gift shop. Then it was they were inquiring about different animals, and I didn't even have to promote them. Wow. I didn't even have to promote them.
They're great animals. Yeah. And I see you have a
Thank
blanket
you.
Behind you.
I'm very attached.
Well, so what are some of the other things besides the animals that you're making?
Well, for the show,
yes.
I thought this would be a good opportunity, basically, to bring some other items. And this is a throw that was made out of recycled sweaters, but the back
it's very soft.
has remnants.
Oh, that's great.
And this is also part of, remember I was telling you a little bit about that underground area where I can get some of the materials, but it could be very limited yardage. So these are a couple of the guys that I deal with that are up in New York, and I'll say to them at the end of the season, hey, what can you sell me? And most of the time I can't get specific colors. It doesn't work like that. You know, I have to kind of take what I have and then turn it into something else.
Awesome. So what are some of the other, I heard coats.
I have other things over there as well.
And scarves.
Yeah.
Wreaths.
Wreaths, that's
Wreaths.
right. Yeah,
You have it.
Wreaths.
Tis the season.
Yeah, tis the season, yeah.
We, you do a line of children's clothing as well, right?
Yes, I do.
Which works really well for all the little small remnants. You don't need that much in a child's jacket.
There's some really awesome. She's gonna bring
I
over
love what she was saying about trying to go through the piles of discards
Yes.
and figuring out what you can make with it to sell in stores. That resonates really well with me.
Well, I think it's, I've always liked challenges in creating, and I think it's much more challenging when you take a shape that's like a sweater, and you're going to try to figure out what to make out of it, opposed to a square blank of yardage.
Absolutely.
So these are 2 of the numbers.
Oh, that's so cute.
We have a lovely girl that is from the Rio Grande Elementary School, and this is a poncho. These are all recycled sweaters, polar fleece, and knits. I'm finishing up and making her a pair of hand warmers to go with this.
That's a cute little hat.
Yeah.
This is very sweet. She must be little, like 4 or 5.
Oh,
I don't know.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
you know, some of the kids are very tall, thin,
that's
and
true.
lanky.
Right.
And then some of the kids, like this kid, I love him, but he's in my largest size, and he isn't even in kindergarten yet.
Wow.
That's how my girls were. Sometimes it'd be really big for their
Right.
age, and sometimes it'd be really small for their age. Depends on where they were.
That's very
Yeah,
cute.
that is really sweet.
Very colorful.
Yeah.
And so then this was an item. I made ski hats and these things that I called tubes.
Oh yeah. What is that? It's a
Stick your hands in there. I don't know if anybody remembers muffs.
it's totally like a little muff.
So I am the absent-minded professor, and I always lose gloves.
It's also a straight jacket.
There you go.
Jacket if you need one.
You can wrap those children up and really keep them in
Yeah,
place
that's
that
awesome.
way.
Oh, that's nice.
But that was just my idea
Yeah.
because I always would lose gloves, leave gloves, the whole 9 yards. And my mother had muffs, and I always thought they were the coolest thing, but they were very much a period piece and very much very special for those gala nights. And how often do you go to a gala?
Right.
Anymore? No.
Yeah, right.
And then this is a
great.
handbag that was made from the sweaters.
Yeah, and this is like a polar fleece or something. So
Yep, and that's
recycling that
Polar
again.
That's
That's
from
from
LL
Wool.
Bean. I will
Nice.
drop a name here or there.
Oh, that's a really nice.
And then inside is for your phone and for your wallet, so it doesn't go to the bottom of the bag, which I really can't stand.
Oh, I know.
I know.
That's the
Handbags.
thing about having these big bags.
I know you
And
get
you
have
get
to rumble
every-
through them
yes,
all unless they're
there
well organized like that.
Yeah. So it's nice that this has pockets inside of the bag. These are all very nice.
And these sort of items will be at the show on November 15th through 17th.
They're also washable. Cold water, line
Right.
dry. Just no heat, because if it is cotton or wool, it will shrink.
So you get your materials. Do you wash them all first and then use them for whatever you decide you're going to use them for?
Absolutely.
So you
The
have this whole
first-
room where you keep all your supplies.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah.
First part of the process is going to the laundromat, because
Yeah.
it's got to be the highest
Yeah.
heat.
Yes.
And the dryers have got to be intense. Some of those sweaters, if you feel the hand on some of the sweaters, what happens during the process is it actually breaks the fiber and compacts the fiber like felting. I'm not felting. I don't want any knitters getting on my back, okay? But it makes them softer, compact, and actually warmer. So yeah, so I go there, put them through the rigorous, hottest, very mild, no perfumes. I don't use any perfumes. I use dryer balls.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what they
those
are,
little
right?
Wool balls.
And then that actually helps so that they don't pill so much. But everything in my supply closet, we'll call it a closet for now, has already been sanitized, it's been dried, it's been compacted, it's ready to roll. It's ready to be cut and start working on it.
And you mentioned that your stuffies, as we like to call them at our house, are hypoallergenic. Can you describe what you use for the fill?
Well, I want to also just be totally transparent when I say hypoallergenic, okay? If you are allergic to wool, you're still going to be allergic to this, okay? Because the head is made from wool. There's cotton, and there's also a waffle knit cotton that's used on that one. This guy is chenille. He is cotton. This is rayon and cotton. The thing is, the inside is what is hypoallergenic. Those are extruded plastic bottles. I do not do this. There's a company that does this, and they make the fill. So it's really a process where they melt down the bottles, they're making thread, and then somehow that thread gets blown to be fill. Wow. So that's what makes them...
I have to interject there for a second. So what this is doing, I mentioned how China is no longer accepting our materials.
Right.
We need to create end markets for all those bottles we put in our recycling bins. So this is, you are creating that end market. So when you purchase one of these stuffies, it means that bottle you put in your bin at the curb has a home. It goes into that Polyfill, which is recycled. So double whammy recycled.
So is that like available anywhere, or do you have to special order?
It's not special order. I mean, I came across this stuff like almost 18 years ago, but it wasn't a well-known fact how they were actually making the fill. Oh. So if you get a Polyfill, all you have to do a little bit of research, got to do your research to find out how they're making the Polyfill. So I deal with just one company that's got a trademark, and they've been doing it for a very long time, but people were very unaware of where that fill was coming from. Yeah. And it's a great company. It really
that's awesome. Yeah. It's great what you're doing. And I just want to thank you for, again, having us today and being here with us.
Oh, you are so welcome. It's my pleasure.
It's kind of mind blowing to realize this is her first time. She's at this is her first year at the Recycled Art Show. And so we're so honored. Every year we have a great combination of repeat artists, but also new artists. So even if you came to the show last year or the year before, there's always something new. And Margie is a perfect example of that. This is a new great thing that we're delighted to have in the show.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. I wish I had heard about the show much sooner. I would have participated. But I'm very happy that I'm here now.
So would you again tell us the dates and the times?
So it's November 15th, Friday, from 5 to 9 p.m. with the fashion show at 7 p.m. Fashion show tickets can be bought at the door, but we also recommend you buy them ahead of time at ticketsantafe.org. On Saturday, the hours are 9 to 5. The Cowgirl Barbecue will be there on Saturday, Friday, and Sunday for food and treats. On Sunday, the hours are 10 to 5, and it's free on Saturday and Sunday. And Make and Take will take place on Saturday and Sunday. So come join us.
Yep. We look forward to it. Again, it's an awesome event. There's so much to see and learn, and just understand what it is to recycle and to really make an end product.
So the one thing I want to leave us all with is, so it's our goal in my role and for so many places right now, we have a linear economy. We take resources, we make stuff, and we discard it. When you support recycled art, you're helping to support a circular economy where raw materials are no longer extracted from the earth, but they already exist on our earth, and we reuse them to something new. So kind of think about that. When you're supporting recycled art, you're supporting a circular economy.
Great time to do some Christmas shopping since it's that time of year.
I can't believe it.
I know. This year's gone so fast. But again, thank you for joining us for Santa Fe Matters. Thank you.